All right, yesterday, I want everyone's attention here, because yesterday you were asked to do, unless I got two of you working on that test, don't pay attention to me. Yesterday you were asked, I gave you 3 problems, is that correct? Okay. This was the first problem. We are just starting this adding and subtracting fractions. So relax, don't get all freaked out. We're going to take some time and we're going to understand it. Okay, we started with our fraction pieces. And we always start with 1 because we want to see if our sum, answer to an addition problem, is going to be less than or greater than 1. It gives us an idea of kind of an estimate, so we know what we're doing. So our problem is 1/3 plus 1/6. So I take my 1/3 and then I'm going to add 1/6 to it. And I see that my answer is less than 1. But something else I can do is I can figure out, oh good, my answer is going to be a half. Did y'all get a half when you did 1/3 plus 1/6? Okay, because I was comparing it to a half just to see if it was more than or less than a half. And it turns out my answer is exactly 1/2. And that's how we can use the pieces to help us. But now let's look at how we do it with our standard algorithm, our actual mathematical equation. First thing is we have to find a common denominator. You cannot add or subtract fractions unless they have the same denominator. You can't. It's wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. They have to have the same denominator. So what we're going to do, last week we practiced finding least common denominator. We're going to take our denominators, which are 3 and 6, and we're going to list out and we're going to find the first common number they have as a multiple. Now what I do, good job, Allie, good job. What I do is I look at my multiplication chart. My multiplication chart, if I go down it, I can find, so 3, 6, 9, 12, I could keep going, 6, 12, 18. But once I find the first one they have in common, then that's their common denominator. I take the common denominator, and I'm going to change both of these fractions so that they have a denominator of 6, but I'm not going to change the value. Okay? I'm going to have something that is equal to 1/3, but has a denominator of 6. And if I look at that, 1/3 equals 2/6. That's the same value, the same amount. There's no difference. It equals the same. 1/3 and 2/6 are the exact same value. If you took a quiz that had 3 questions on it, you got 1 right. And I took a quiz that had 6 questions on it and I got 2 right, we have the same grade. The exact same value. So, but how do I get there mathematically? I need to multiply 1/3 by a fraction that equals 1. I have to multiply it by a fraction that equals 1. Why a fraction that equals 1? Because anytime I multiply something by 1, it doesn't change it. I'm going to change the way this looks, but I'm not going to change what it is. So right now I have Jacob going to break his arm off trying to tell me what to multiply by. Go ahead, Jacob.
They're going to multiply 2 gets 6.
Good.
And then 6 times 1 makes 6. So the least common denominator is 6.
Awesome. Now I need to change 1/3 to something over 6. Now how do I do that without changing the value? Well, let me ask myself. 3 times what is 6? 3 times 2 is 6. Any fraction that has the same numerator and denominator equals 1. So I am multiplying 1/3 times 1, 2 over 2. But now if I multiply straight across, 3 times 2 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2. So now I have 2/6. Just like I said here, 1/3 equals 2/6. This one's already over 6, so I'm going to leave it like it is. Now, I can add 2 6 and 1 6 because they have the same denominator. And when I do that, the denominator stays 6, because if I took 2 6 and I add 1 6 to it, it's still 6. They're still breaking into 6 pieces, but it becomes 3 6 now. Now, also last week, we did an assignment called Another Simplifying Fractions Assignment. And what we do there is we want to find what these two numbers, what factor they have in common, so I can divide them both by that. So if we list our factors of 3 and our factors of 6, factors of 3 is prime, so the only factors of 3 are 1 times 3. 6, 1 times 6, obviously, it's an even number, so 2 times 3. And those are all our factors of 3 and our factors of 6. They both have a 1, and they both have a 3. The biggest one they have in common is 3. So if I divide these both by 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And that's why 3 6 equals 1/2. Boom! No, he didn't. Yes, he did. All right, what was the second problem that you were given yesterday? You remember? Second problem you were given? What, Jacob, tell me what it was.
No, I forgot.
Okay.
But I saw the problem.
Addie, can you tell me?
Me?
Yeah.
I think it was 2/3 plus 3/4.
All right, 2/3 plus 3/4. This one was given to you yesterday, hopefully. Let's put this together. Again, we're starting comparing it to 1. There's 1/3. There's 2/3. Then we have 3/4, 1/4, 2/4. Oh my goodness, this is going to be bigger than 1. 3/4. So we are going to be more than 1 here. Our answer is going to be more than 1. So we're going to have 1 and then a fraction. It's not bigger than 2, so I know it's going to be 1 as my whole number. So now I could take and I could put pieces underneath this, which is a good practice to get into. But I'm going to jump to the finding the common denominator part. So I'm going to take my denominators 3 and 4. And what I would do, because I'm cool, is I would look at the multiplication chart. And I would go down the rows. And I would find the first one they have in common. So if I went 3, 6, 9, 12, 4, 8, 12. The first one they have in common is 12. That's called my least common denominator. Like we did last week, least common denominator. My least common denominator for this is 12. All right. Now, as I did before, I need to change 2/3 into 12ths. One way to do that is I can just put my 12ths under here, and I see, oh look, 1/3 is 4/12. Well, that obviously means 2/3 is 8/12. But let's see how we get there mathematically. I need to multiply by a fraction that equals 1. And because if I multiply by something that equals 1, I don't change the value. I'm changing the way it's written. Allie, what am I going to multiply by?
You're going to multiply by 4.
4, awesome. So 4 over 4. 4 over 4 equals 1. Any fraction with the same numerator as the denominator equals 1. So 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. Just like we said. 3/4. I need to change to something over 12. Let's see how many 12ths are in 1/4. 1, 2. 1/4 has 3 12ths. So it should be 9 12ths if we do it right. So 4 times what is 12? What am I going to multiply by here, Allie?
3.
3. And I multiply by 3 over 3 because 3 over 3 is 1. And if I multiply something by 1, I do not change the value. 3/12, 3 times 3 is 9. So now I get 17 12ths. When I add these together, I have 17 12ths. Now, I know last year you did some changing from improper fractions to mixed numbers. We're not quite there yet. Not quite there yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my pieces. I know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 12ths. So it's 1 and 5 12ths. 1 and 5 12ths. And I can check to see if I can simplify 5 12ths. I will look. Five is prime, so the only factors 5 has is 1 and 5. 12, we have 1 and 12. It's an even number, so 2 times 6. The sum of the digits, 1 plus 2 is 3. So we're going to have 3 times 4. The only thing they have in common is 1. If the only thing they have in common is 1, that fraction is already simplified. So our final answer, Regis, is 1 and 5 12ths. 1 and 5 12ths. And last, Dancing Queen, do you have the last problem that we started yesterday? Dancing Queen, you with me?
Mr. Milano,
Yes.
for the first question, was it 1/2?
Yes. Yes.
Hold on, let me
Did I wake you up, Dancing Queen?
It was 5, 6, and 6, 8.
5, 6, and what?
6, 8.
5, 6 plus 6 eighths? Wow, this is going to be way bigger than 1. Let's see. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, and 6 eighths. 1, 2. 3, 4. 5, 6. Man, we have to move that over, aren't we? 5, 6, and 6 eighths. Whoa. 5, 6 plus 6 eighths. So we're far bigger than 1. Far bigger than 1 here. Oh, I don't know. Let's try some stuff here before we actually do the actual math. Let's see if we can figure it out. We know it's going to be 1. So we know it's going to have 1 as a whole number. Let's see. Is it 1.5? No, not 1.5. Let's try fourths. 1 and... Nope, not 1 and 2/4. Thirds? Nope, not 1 and 2/3. Fifths? Uh-oh, close. No, not quite. Not quite. Just a little bit over there. All right, we're going to have to do the math. We're going to have to find the common denominator for 6 and 8. Common denominator for 6 and 8. And if I look down my multiplication row, because I'm busting out my multiplication chart, I'm putting my finger on the row for 6. I'm putting my finger on the row for 8. And I'm going down. And the first one they both have in common is, speak now, class, is, Austin?
24.
24.
24.
Awesome.
24.
It's 24 because the least common denominator is 6 and 8. 24 because
Boom!
they both don't go into 16 or 18.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now we need to come over here. We need to change 5, 6 to something over 24 without changing the value, which means we have to multiply by a fraction that equals 1. And if I go back to my multiplication chart, what did I multiply by 6 to get 24? 4. If I multiply my denominator by 4, I must also multiply my numerator by 4, and 5 times 4 is 20. Then I go back and I look at my second fraction, 6/8. What did I multiply by 8 to get 24? 3. If I multiply my denominator by 3, I must always multiply my numerator by the same thing, because I don't want to change the value, and 3 over 3 equals 1, and so that should be 18. Now, I can add these two fractions, because they have the same denominator. And 18 plus 20 is going to give me 38. 38 24ths. Jiminy Christmas, that's a big number, and it's way improper. Way improper.
20 and 24 into each other by doing 2 and 2.
So the way we do this, let me show you first, and then I'll take any questions. The way we do this, and we'll practice this more, is you divide your denominator into your numerator. Because that's what a fraction is, a division problem. This says 38 divided by 24. That's all a fraction is. This fraction says 1 divided by 4. A fraction is a division problem. That's all it is. So now I know 24 goes into 38 one time, and I get 1 remainder 14, or 1 and 14 24ths. But then I need to simplify 24ths, and or simplify 14 24ths. So I can do that if I divide these both by 2. And I'm going to get 1 and 7 twelfths. If I want to check that, I can take my twelfths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 and 7 twelfths. Voila! This magnificent. Mwah. All right, Austin, you had a question. Please share with me your question.
So how we had the first fraction, and we got the least common denominator.
Yeah, 24.
It was 6 times what is 24?
Yep.
And that's 4. We would times the new. We would times 5 and 6 by 4
Yes, sir.
to get the new fraction that it equals.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Exactly. All right, Layla, you have a question.
There's another fraction.
Oh, there was one more? Oh.
Yeah.
All right, well, tell me, Layla, let's do this.
1/6 plus 3/4.
Oh, 1/6 plus 3/4. Let's see. 1/6 and 3/4. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Oh, we are going to be just a little bit less than 1. If I have 1/6 plus 3/4, and I could mess around and put pieces under here, but I don't want to do that. I'm lazy. So let's find out what the least common denominator is. Anybody? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Least common denominator for 6 and 4, Braden?
The least common denominator that I found was 12.
And 12 is correct.
Because 6 and The 4 can both go to 12.
Awesome. So 12 is my least common denominator. And then I go back. I need to change 1/6 into 12ths. Well, I can do it here. And I can see 1/6 is 2/12ths. And mathematically, I ask myself, what do I multiply by 6 to get 12? And myself says 2. If I multiply my denominator by 2, I must also multiply my numerator by 2. Because that means I'm multiplying by a fraction that equals 1. And if I multiply by 1, I don't change my value. And then 1 times 2 is 2. So 1/6 is 2/12ths. I could go up here and I could put my 12ths under my 4ths and figure out how many that is. But we're going to jump over here and we're going to go 3/4. What do I multiply by 4 to get 12? My answer is 3. If I multiply my denominator by 3, I must also multiply my numerator by 3 because I want to multiply by a fraction that equals 1. 3 times 3 is 9. So now I have 9/12ths plus 2/12ths, and I get 11/12ths. Boom! We be rocking this.